Hello, this is Coach Rod. Yesterday in our practice, we worked on the press break, Coach Dre and I. There was some difficulty with it being the first time that a lot of these guys had worked on the press break, so we broke it down into parts. We both understand that as trainers and as basketball coaches, there's never going to be enough time in the gym to learn everything you need. It's important that we create some kind of resource outside of practice for these kids to have access to. That will help the learning curve and give them an opportunity to learn outside of practice. And it's for that reason I created this video today explaining the press break. I'll try not to make it too long and not too difficult to understand. So, this is the first of about 9 or 10 slides that I have. This first picture that you see, it outlines the levels, it outlines the positions, it outlines everyone's job that they need to do. So I'm going to explain that. First, we're going to start up with the levels. As you see, they've color-coded level 1 through 4. As you pass the basketball, every second to third pass, you want to be moving the basketball to the next level, okay? Because as you can see, our number 1 guy, our passer, he is in level 1. And we can't make 3 and 4 and 5 passes and still be in level 1 because it's easier for us to get the ball picked off because everyone is in close proximity. And it also allows the other team to possibly cash in on a 10-second violation. So we need to be moving the basketball up the floor with the pass. Now, as the ball progresses up the floor, our players must progress up the floor too. So as the ball enters the next level up the floor, our players must also be exploring or entering those next levels as we go up the floor. Now, you notice number 1 is a passer, obviously, because he's taking the ball out of bounds. But you notice number 3, 4, and 2 across the free throw line extended. You've got a passer on the outsides, which is 3 and 2, and then you have a runner on the inside. And that's going to be pretty consistent all the way up the floor because we need a runner to create spacing up the floor. We need to be able to pull the defense away from the basketball to create space for us to pass the basketball into. Okay, so that's going to be pretty consistent. And as you notice, there are some arrows pointing to different areas from those players. As you see, number 3 comes down to, on the basketball court we were on, it was a gray line, but here it's more of a red line. And number 3 is going to go no farther than that line. And that's where that person will receive the basketball. Once he catches the basketball, our runner, number 4, is going to sprint to the outside lane there where he needs to catch the basketball. And you notice what he's doing. He's in level 2 right now. And so he's going to start to approach level 3. And if we were to get a catch right there, which a lot of times we may not get a catch, on that second pass right there. But what he is going to do is he's going to make himself available closer to that third level. That's going to stretch the defense out. It's going to create passing lanes for us to pass the ball into if we have to, and once we have to reverse the basketball. And then you notice when the runner leaves his position in the middle, number 2 is going to come over and fill that position because now we have a passer that has entered level 1. He's become a passer. And then the number 2 has come to the middle of the floor because if we get trapped on the outsides, that number 2 guy in the middle, he's the one that's going to be able to catch that basketball and move the ball left or right. You see, you don't want to get trapped on the sideline because now the only thing you can do is pass to one side of the floor. But if you have a passer in the middle of the floor and they catch the ball in the middle of the floor, they can look left, they can look right, and if need be, they can turn around to the guy that's behind him that is going to be assisting with moving the ball up the floor, which is right here is number 1. He can assist in moving the ball on up the floor. Okay? And you'll also notice that number 5 is down on level 4. We always have number 5. We have whoever our number 5 guy is. He's a runner. He takes off. So if the defense doesn't get back, we throw it over the top, easy score. Number 5 later on will become a passer as the ball enters level 4. But we have to wait till we get to that point. Okay, but he is one of those guys. He's going to keep the defense honest if they're pressing and trapping. Nobody's probably going to be back there with him a lot of times. If they don't look, there should be somebody back there with him. And if there is, they're going to play behind him. So we're going to have a good opportunity for him to be able to, at some point, catch the basketball, turn and face, and have an opportunity to hit somebody cutting to the basket. On our next slide right here, we have made our first initial pass from number 1 to number 3. Okay. Once number 3 catches the basketball, our runner, number 4, sprints to the sideline. Number 2 goes up the floor a little bit to get a little bit closer to the highest point of level 2. And now we have triangle passing, because now number 3 can either hit 4, they can hit 2, and if those passes aren't available, he could pass it back to number 1. And you notice number 5, our runner, deep, he stays deep. He stays deep. Right now, he's a decoy. He's the guy that he makes this entire press 4-on-4 on this end instead of 5-on-4, because if it was 5-on-4, he would be wide open and we could just, like I said before, throw it over the top and get an easy score. On this next one, we're going to assume we didn't get a pass to the runner or our passer in the middle. So we pass 3 pivots, passes it back to number 1. Okay. Now, in this one, you're going to see there is a movement that takes place, the same exact movement that took place when we initiated our movements on the first pass. Okay. See, now number 2, because number 1 has the ball, number 2 is going to move in position to become a passer on this side of the floor, which if you're facing the basket, is going to be the right side of the floor. Our runner is going to move across the floor and return to the middle. Our number 3 guy is going to move up the floor, and he's going to become that backside passer. And you can see our alignment right here. We have number 2 in position to be a passer. Number 4 is our runner. And then number 3 is our backside passer. Okay. And notice we're at level 2, but we're higher in level 2. We're approaching level 3. Now I've got arrows and some dots that illustrate a couple of things. The dots from passer 1 to passer 2 illustrates a pass that's being thrown. Once number 2 catches the pass, the same rules apply, okay? Number 4 is going to be the runner. They're sprinting to the outside, but now number 3 is a passer, but they're moving into level 3, okay? We do not want to keep passing the ball back and forth in level 2. By the time we reverse the ball from one side of the floor to the next side of the floor, our next pass up the floor needs to be going to that next level. So we have a couple of options, okay? We're going to have number 4 as an option. We're going to have number 3 as an option. Right here, you notice the movement of number 1. That's about the only thing that changed in this image. But number 1 has gone from level 1 to level 2. You still have passer number 2 in level 2. So you've got our backcourt guys in level 2. But you notice our front court guys, number 3 and number 4, are moving into level 3. Because as the ball moves up the floor, they need to stay ahead of the basketball. That's the only way we're going to have an opportunity to advance up the floor. And you notice we're getting closer and closer to level 4. We're up to slide number 7 right now, and notice what's happened. We've got our number 2 guy with the basketball set to either pass to number 3 or our runner, number 4. We've got our passer number 1 is just a couple of steps behind number 2, but he's a few steps to a couple of lateral steps to the left of him to create space also, because you don't want to be too close, okay? He's a bailout guy. If they were to trap number 2 and we couldn't get anything going down the floor, you could always kick it back to number 1. And you notice that left side is open. So if he's a good ball handler, he can take off up the floor and do some other things also. But I want to keep it really, really basic right now. Okay. But you notice we've got a passer and a runner at level 3. We've got a runner still at level 4. And we've got a couple of passers at level 2. This is where we need to be to patiently and just in the smartest fashion possible, move the ball up the floor without turning it over. Now look at the options that we have. We're going to assume that passer number 2 passed the ball to number 4, our runner. Okay. When our runner gets the basketball in this position, you notice that number 5 in level 4 has become a passer because he comes up away from the free throw line right inside the 3-point line, and he can catch the basketball right there. If he makes that pass, you see number 3 has become a runner. So now we have 2 runners and a passer. Anyone that knows anything about basketball knows that this becomes a fast break or a half-court break anyway. See, when number 4 passes the ball to 5, the runner number 3 occupies the left side of the floor in level 4, and at the 3-point line, and the free throw line extended somewhere around there, that's where he cuts to the basket. Number 4 is going to pass the ball, but he's not going to stand still. He's going to make that pass to number 5, and then he's going to do the same thing that number 3 runner did. He's going to get to the free throw line extended where it intersects with the 3-point line, and he's going to cut to the basket also. So we're going to have a couple of options. We've got option number 1, option number 2, in no specific order. But all number 5 will have to do is catch the basketball, pivot, and face the basket. He's going to have a couple of options. Now you look at this next slide. We further illustrate those options, okay? Number 3 and number 4 cutting to the basket. We've got number 5. If number 5 is a shooter, he can shoot that basketball. If that guy moves away from him, he can take a dribble or so and take that shot. You notice that number 1 and number 2 passers have moved up to level 3. They are now trailing the play. But the main action, the best opportunity to score, is in level 4, where you have a couple of runners and a passer in the middle. And then you've got a couple of passers up front, okay? From this point right here, if we were to score, okay? If we were to score from this point right here, now we have number 1 and 2 already basically at half court. Now we can jump into what we call our diamond press. I did not illustrate that here, but it would be very easy after this score for us to jump in our 1-2-1-1 press out of this. And that is what we were trying to work on yesterday. And like I said, I know it's new. I know it's hard to grasp. After a while, we will get it. I know these kids will. They're very talented. They're very hungry. And that makes them easy to coach. But I cannot emphasize enough the importance of having some kind of resource outside of practice, especially when that resource deals directly with what we've been working on. That's going to make the learning curve a lot easier. And like I said, I try not to make this too long, but I wanted to be detailed enough to where this thing made sense to you. If anyone has any questions, you'll see myself or Coach Dre in practice, but I really and truly believe that this will make things a little bit easier to understand. I'll see you next time.